Hello, and welcome back to Cross Channel. Alright, so I wasn't originally expecting to do Cross Channel today. I was planning to go through the entire thing on the weekend, on like Saturday. But I just found out that 22 years ago, on September 2026, that was when Cross Channel was released. So I think it's proper we finish Cross Channel on the 26th. Well, actually, I don't think I can finish it on the 26th. It's already like 9:30 p.m. But at least we got started on 26th. All right, let's enter the last route and last mini route, and then we're gonna end this game. And then I woke up. I wonder if we could skip to something new. All right, here we go. Something new already. I confirmed it in the depths of the undergrowth. I can only use this method one last time. There was only one person left. Hasakura Yoko. I'll have to go about it more carefully than before. I definitely cannot fail. I can't be affected by her rebellious spirit. And there's one point that's different from before. I don't need her memories. No bento had been left out. The pattern was already different. It made me uneasy. When everyone else goes away, her actions differ. What is that? I rolled my eyes, even though I intended to not be affected by her. Because she had love as her blind spot, I thought I could trick her into... Did I underestimate her? No. There were no elements that could conclude to that. Calm down. For now, I'll try going outside. Yoko-chan was waiting there. Smiling. What?
二人っきり
Huh?
二人っきり太一
I wanted to run. My instincts told me to. My pulse hastened, and any calm thought I had remaining fell away. So this is what's called pressure. Are you really that happy about it? If I don't maintain consciousness, my voice will cut off.
待っていたから
So that's it.
ねえ太一キスしていい
Sure. She walked toward me without a sound and wrapped her arms around my neck. I was being captured. I was being devoured. For some time, her invading tongue devastated the inside of my mouth. While softly biting my upper lip, she let go.
じゃあ続きは後で
She left. Yeah. See you. Later. I'll make her drop her guard. At this point, I'll make her. It doesn't matter, Al. I'll make her. I realized I was holding a paper-wrapped sandwich against my chest. I've come to school, but... I scratched my head. There's no one here. But... I guess I'll go look around for a bit. Somehow I can't calm down around midday without going to school. The classrooms were silent. No signs of life. A loneliness as if the air had thinned. I don't have the confidence to stay here long. I left the classroom. Being bigger than the classrooms, it felt even more tranquil here. I sat down in the chair I always use. I sighed and had nothing to do. With no flowing electricity, I can't contact anyone else. I'll have to start living at a slower pace. But people tend to get in a hurry. That's the problem. No, before that, I remember my stress. It's her. The antenna. An unbuilt dialogue with a partial progress. I won't see Senpai ever again. She disappeared home, along with the possibility of her working on this. There's a dangerous place in the fence. Remaining unfixed, the world overlapped. Was it a drainage problem? However many times it's repaired, just this one area gets damp and weakens. The roof is part of the school, and yet not part of it. Here, where the borders are shared with the sky, it's like another world. A wide skyline, covered in green. Between mountains, a signal fire rose up. Ninjas? As if. I hit my temporal lobe. It seems a few of my carefree elements had remained. A mountain fire? No. Considering the possibilities. Huh. Is it Yoko-chan? Why a signal fire? Right after thinking that I'd live a carefree life, I dashed off, a laborious path. I entered the clearing. Isn't this next to the Hokora? We are so back, Silent Hill left. What would she be doing next to the Hokora? On the other side of the bushes, a bursting sound. I parted through and continued on. It's been burning. All of it had been burning. All the records had been playing with fire. Even though my rationality was freezing, my body was shuddering. What are you doing? When I spoke to her, the answer that came back was so direct and honest.
燃やしているの。
You're burning. Is it okay to burn those? You know that those are the records which illuminate the fact that we've been repeating the same time. It's not good to burn those, I said in an unthinkingly calm tone, given the state of emergency. Or should I say, I was automatically riding my moral rail and was actually quite aghast. There was no answer, because it wasn't a question. Stop that. A deaf ear. She was just gazing at the mountain of flames crawling around the notebooks. You know, as a result, the haste returned to my heart. I swallowed my saliva and screamed, "Put it out!" When I did, she slowly curled her body and faced
だっ
me.
てもう必要ない。大地が理解する必要はないもの。
What are you saying? No need to understand. There's no need for me to know about the cycling world. Idiot. How could that be? I'm putting it out. I picked up the broken stick and moved to break up the mountain of fire. My wrist was grabbed. Nande.
ダメ。もう芯まで燃えてる。危ないよ。
Quite a bit of time had passed since seeing the fire. Most of the data had already turned to ash. Many scraps of charred and blackened paper had broken off and were floating upward. You idiot! Doing that means...
わからなくなる。
That's right. If I die, everything will be returned. It's true that I've been doing well here for a while, but there's no guarantee I won't die. An illness, an accident, suddenly going berserk. Even if I died, as long as there's data, I can understand my own position. That 1 in a million insurance had now become ash. I dropped my wooden stick because my wrist had been twisted.
必要なことは私一人が知っていればいいから。
Yoko-chan. Then I knew. Her plan. You knew what I...
うん、わかる。大地って単純だから。
She also knows what I was thinking of doing next. You're thinking of reconstructing me, aren't you?
うん。
The current me, Sumari, the will to live through a proper life, was unneeded for her objective. I'm trying to carve memories in my heart and live alone. The fact that I was among the faces sent home. Of course I'd known that, but I'd overlooked it. It's so obvious, because to her, everyone else was just in the way. Only I needed to be here, but that's not the current me, the me that knows nothing. So, I'll shut myself up in the Hokora.
うん。そうしようと思う。
If I maintain my own proper memories, it won't be hard to control myself.
そう。
Almost like a game of 20 questions. She smiled like a mannequin, faintly cold.
私、大地の意地悪にもたくさん耐えた。だから、今度は大地の番かな。でも、辛い思いはさせないから。
Are you sure you want to reveal that?
大地に隠し事なんてしたくないもの。
Even if I reset, I might bring their secret to light on my own at some point.
そうならないように燃やした。情報がなかった場合、大地が自力で祠のシステムに気づく可能性は低い。
That's true. She was the one who left the memo in the beginning. I was merely guided along. She's embracing me, peeking into my eyes. Together into the depths of our
大
hearts.
地、世界は情報なの。 情報で支配できるの。投資だってそうでしょ。情報の王は世界の王。私はそういうものになるため生きてきた。あんなことになるまで。
Become that in any time. Why not return to the former world and become that there? This is her, after all. Since familiar faces were going away one by one, she must have reached a conclusion on what I was doing.
他に適当な目標がなかったから選んだだけで、別に好きなわけじゃないもの。そんなものより大地の方がいい。
He caressed my cheek. You're insane.
昔の顔つきになった。懐かしい。嬉しい。最近の大地は退屈だったから。
Started talking more, Yoko-chan. I said coldly. You were also cuter back then, when you were quiet and aloof.
お互い様。
She smiled. She spoke and smiled. That 1 in a million could happen to you too. Wouldn't it be hard without information?
日曜の夜に社の周辺で過ごせばループは発生して予備知識がなかったとしてもそれは決して起こり得ない可能性じゃない。ならそれで十分だもの。そして私たちの関係は現象になる。私たちという現象、永遠に。
With a sharp bursting sound, the force of the fire covered the pile of notebooks. You're a monster of rationality. With a charming smile stuck on her face, she moved her lips closer to mine. I lay down on my bed and gazed at the ceiling. She made the first move. That Yoko-chan. She's probably living in proper time. I get that feeling. But for how long? Are there other standstill spots, or was she hiding near the Hokora? Anyway, if she knows the series of mechanisms behind it, it's all the same. Naturally, Yoko-chan knows that I've been avoiding her. Not good. Never been serious is one of my charm points, which I achieved by cutting my emotions away and reunifying them later. But there are many drawbacks in never being serious. Sakura Yoko. The possibility of sending her back had become extremely low. And at this rate, the current me will be erased. The fact that she'd been relaxed in her room this whole time was because she made light of me. Making light of me, or accurately see my capability. I'll capture her and send her back by force. That's nearly impossible. She has intuition on part of a wild animal, far more means of dealing with things than me. She could be secretly carrying any sort of weapon. Seriously. This is bad. Mazi. The current me will disappear. That's an identity crisis. A big one. Sumari, I had to capture her and send her home within the week. That's the only way to live on. That's impossible. Even if I was driving a tank, I probably wouldn't win. Even if I could force her. Is there a better method or schedule? I thought hard. First, the highest probability is today, because I can predict that she'll become more and more wary of my actions as the weekend approaches. Fewer and fewer days remaining. A reduction in the possibility of the current me continuing. If we do the math on the greatest possibilities, today is the most appropriate for attack. If there's a day I can make her drop her guard, it's today. But there's not much time to prepare. What do I need to prepare for an attack? First, I need a place where I can lock her up until Sunday, where I can send her back. Confinement. Spooky. What about weapons? Weapons were resisting her. I can't kill her. After I send her back, she'll live in continuous time. I had to return her to the other side alive. Make her powerless. To make her temporarily powerless. A stun baton. Or something. I should still have one here. I searched my room and found it right away. The baton was a very silent device and could intercept an enemy's brainwaves by contacting them. The effectiveness varies on the individual, but it should stop anyone from moving. The problem is how to make it contact the enemy, but there are a number of ways to confuse her. If I hide it on me and try to get close, she'll notice, but that's why if I come at her directly, that should work. I can deal with her that way. since fatal weapons like crossbows are out of the question. Just in case, I brought spare batteries. It's all over, she finds me suspicious, so it's not an option to go heavily armed. I'll approach her and restrain her, even if I injure her significantly. The problem is how long it will take to restrain her. Naturally, I'll be confining her for a week until sending her back. During that time, I'll have to prepare meals on trays. The danger will increase in proportion to the time she's confined. But I had to do it. I got up. I had to hurry and prepare a confinement room. Okay, deep breathing. When I started toward her house, in the darkness covering the road, taking one step forward, there she was. Bro really thought he'd even be anywhere a chance of winning against her in that kind of battle. How did she display her current emotions? Feelings like a storm. That she had become a mixture neither upset nor amazed. But if I broke character, I'll be finished. Nah. I moved closer. Each step was heavy, mostly in a physical sense. You know, I'm kinda hungry. I was thinking you could make something for me, Yoko-chan. Since your cooking is good, and something warm really is better than canned food. Everyone's gone now, so it's no longer embarrassing if I let you do that. Well, I might have been a bit cold up until now. But why don't we hang out more honestly from now on? I moved toward her, one step at a time. The director was a normal, utterly unfazed me. That's right, you can come back to my place now. We'll live together now. Together like we used to, but without the despair of the past. Both of us. She wore a thin veil of darkness, and only her mouth shone white in the moonlight. A smile. My back felt like it'll freeze. Why was she here? I thought about the reason. I felt faint. If she kills the current me, next week she can obtain a me that knows nothing. That's why, for a very long time, since I was a child, that was my limit. I kicked the ground. I rushed at her. I pretended to fall forward and pick up a small rock. I threw it at her face. Yoko-chan caught the pebble with one hand, but I was already at point-blank range. I thrust my baton. The tip touched her stomach. I could knock her over with this force. I moved my body to push into her with the force from my running start. And then, I was pushed to the ground. She was on my back. It had been decided perfectly by skill. I couldn't move a muscle. I was pinned down, my left hand and face pushing into the ground. She whispered in a sweet voice, as if to a lover. What?
本気になったあなたにはかなわないけど、そうなっても私は逃げおおせることができる。猛獣には猛獣使い、大地には私。
A kiss on the cheek, and then a hand on my neck. I've been strangled. My light breathing stopped. A mere few seconds. My consciousness fell into a darkness deeper than night. Light heartburn. I woke up. My hair. The extra things for confinement had been moved out of the way. I've been connected to the place I prepared for Yoko-chan. What's the meaning of this? I asked while holding back a yawn.
今週の大地は記憶が残っているから拘束。
You really are treating me like a beast.
1週間の辛抱。
What about going to the bat
お
room?
むつ。
Seriously?
本気。
My dignity as a person.
平気。大地のは汚くない。
No, don't say things like that. She won't even let me go to the bat
は
room.
い。ご飯。
Please release one of my
ごめ
hands.
んなさい。無理。
Katanai. I need physical strength. I can't eat like this though.
あー。
Multifaceted humiliation. Well, there are no other people. So she really did leave me alone all day. This sucks. My back hurts. I can hardly ever turn over. There's time to think, though. Yoko-chan came. What?
水を
I put a cup to my mouth. She put her other hand under my jaw. I remember being a bit parched. I drank. I had a strange feeling, but I drank it down. Hey, is this water drugged?
必要な薬を
She didn't deny it. What kind?
言っても理解できないと思う
So, it's nothing good. Without answering, she disappeared. Where's my food? Huh? Is she planning to starve me? That'll be tough. After a while, she came again. It was mealtime. Stew and bread. For this day and age, it was elaborate cooking. It weeded my appetite. Since I can't use my hands, she made me eat it. What spilled out of my mouth, she wiped with her own mouth. Damn. The scent of her body. My hips were itching. For now, a sigh. She doesn't seem to be starving me to rob me of strength. She took the utensils and disappeared again. When she returned, she had a bucket of hot water and a towel. What are you? My clothes were taken off. No! Hentai! Struggling was meaningless. As I was exposed, she tickled my nipples and did other things. Jesus. I'm being violated. She wiped my whole body with a wrung towel. My face, behind my ears, my arms, my sides, my stomach, my back, my hunches, my legs, and lastly, my penis. She cleaned it carefully.
大きくなってる
I should tell you, that's not just because of lust.
知ってる平気
I dropped the towel in the bucket. Yoko-chan stood still there. So, is there something else? She lightly touched my perfectly vertical organ.
大きい
Her fingers rushed up it from the base to the
大
tip.
地の立派だものね
I was becoming sensitive. My skin was
お
tingling.
口でするね
She was a mixture of neither breath nor words, whose cheeks were already lightly tinted. She shot her gaze toward me, glowing with heat. My crotch suddenly ached. Normally, it's the other way around. My stretched out self was raving more than usual. I was strangely excited. Both I and her. It's hopeless. Then Yoko-chan got off me. With a steam towel, she wiped out the saliva on my rod.
じゃあまた明日
She smiled gracefully and left the room. Under my clothes, the dilation was like a tower. Only half killing. It really did hurt. Although, harassment. That evening, I was distressed until the middle of the night. Wednesday. Today I'm thinking about my dignity as a person. I felt like crying. I struggled. I threw my head back. I convulsed. Water closet. I disclosed the stature of my feelings. WC, that which I desire. WC, a person's dignity. WC, that which monopolizes 9/10 of that which is humanly. Now that I think I can understand what lies between the labor of an old nurse and the pride of an old person being nurse. I'm leaking! No! Anything but that! The door opened.
おはよう
Worst timing ever! And she was carrying dangerous things. What are those? She held out her objects, a bucket and the cylindrical enema device. I shook my head left and right while crying. My rights! Leave me my human rights! She looked calm with a slight blush. Animal passions. Peace to all ass. Subete no shiri no heiwa wo. Peace to all ass. Subete no shiri ni Shirini Heiwawa. She picked up the cylinder. No! You're not human! Yoko-chan returned with a meal. I've been crying bitterly.
はい。あーんして。
I thought of trying to resist by fasting, but my stomach growled. My body's a resistance. In the end, I was made to eat like a baby. It was incredibly delicious. And it didn't end with just breakfast. Her eyes flowed to my crotch. Naturally, I was a wreck.
これは朝立ち
No, failing fatigue. TL note. This is the Japanese slang for a phenomenon in which total exhaustion causes an erection without any sexual stimulation.
マッサージしてあげる
TL note. Continue. This is thought to occur either because tired nerves are more sensitive or because your body thinks it's about to die and wants to pass on its genes. It's fine. Please stop. Please don't touch my phallus. Then, it was night. There was no chance of escape. Since I'm tied down, that's natural. The best I could do is bite. However tough my teeth are, it's impossible to bite through chains. Time flowed on idly, toward the weekend. My hips ached. My body was glowing strangely. As a result, my rationality seemed to be retreating. My power to think weakened. This is a bad situation. My room mustn't be scared of change. Even though I can do nothing but think, my thoughts were too hot to go anywhere. It was a prison of anguish. Humans seem to be things that can't ever get used to boredom. There's also the fact that I can't move my body much. My heart was stretched out, frustrating me to a maddening degree. My stimulant libido continued to scorch my body forever. At this rate, I'll be a smoked salmon of lust. Damn it! It hurts. It hurts so much. I'm sure torture isn't necessary. You can just tie me up and leave me alone in an empty room. I'm changing time is slowly but steadily hurting her. The door opened. Even if I'm unconscious, my eyes face her. It was Yoko-chan. There's no one but her left in the world. She had dinner on a tray. Hungry? Yeah, I am hungry. I'm hungry. A delicate voice like someone else's wrote words. Then I was made to eat. It was kare. The slightly sweetened flavor colored my stomach. Then mizu. I'm already losing my acute senses, and I'm sure there's medicine in it. But I don't care. Refill. Yoko-chan brought it without a word. It's good. She rubbed my head. Like this. I thought, I'll wither for her without thinking anything. Throwing away next week. This person is no different from a stranger. Yeah. Her repulsion boiled up. I can't abandon the current me. I can succeed the will of the me that's maintained himself until now. The me that sent everyone back, hiding numerous memories in his heart. The me like a bomb. I'll take care of myself. I'll continue to exist until the day the sky rots. I'll live on. And to do that, thank you. You can go now, I said coldly. She then walked away. She put a hand on my crotch. Don't touch! Naturally, it was throbbing painfully. Bravado. Bravado so as not to be emasculated.
腫れてる弾けそう
Whose fault is that? The fault of her stimuli and medicine. I faced her with a gaze as cold as possible.
じゃあここは触らない方がいいみたい
She gripped the tip with her palm. And soon let go. Are you making fun of me?
愛してるの
Her face approached mine.
舌を出してしゃぶってあげる
I felt like ejaculate. No, thank you. I tried to look away. My cheeks were captured and I was kissed. She had her way with my mouth. When my tongue ran away, it was immediately arrested and twisted around by her long tongue. Good to know she has a long tongue. It was squeezed out with amazing force and the saliva was rubbed off it. Damn it, my head's swimming. I feel like I will return her kiss. Want to resist. But I penetrated non-resistance. I won't become someone else's possession. While she sucked strongly, I pulled out of the kiss. It felt like my tongue would come out. For a moment, my head went white. This is dangerous. I tried spitting, at least to avoid lowering my guard. For that purpose, I had to resist to the utmost now. I can't let her see exhaustion at the end of my futile resistance. Once more, a kiss. It pierced the void. An ardent filato. My hips floated in an instant, as if all the water content in my mouth was being sucked out. Her long tongue invaded my throat. I had no means to stop it. Heat poured down into my oral cavity. I knew the flavor of her tongue well. It twisted, maddening, crawling, and undulating like an anteater's tongue. How the hell does he know what an anteater's tongue is like? Anyway. Occasionally a breath mix. I got goosebumps. Even from her lower limbs touching my crotch, I felt something supreme. She sweetly bit my lips. Light pain accompanied that, scorching my consciousness, and particularly deep. I felt like it released just from being kissed. She sensed that and separated. Her knee on my crotch pushed over my aroused penis. I lost sight of pleasure's domed top as it smothered, cycling down to my base. I went mad. Feel it. Another kiss. A sickening amount of saliva flowed into me. Forever and ever. Saliva. Enough to quench my dry throat. After being made to drink it for some time, she changed to soft caresses inside my mouth. Her tongue had changed to an eminent sexual organ. I could not reject it. My lips were far away and I was covered in a lonely sensation. He's laughing. She licked all around the inside of my mouth one last time and then stood up. Breathing. I was aware of how lonely that felt. She looked in my underwear, and after confirming I hadn't ejaculated, left with the utensils. God damn it! I screamed. I realized that I'd become night. It had become night. It seems that I'd been wandering in the void. My excrement was being dealt with, and I was being made to eat, or so it felt. It was unclear whether that was today or something from yesterday. A room with nothing. Stolen freedom. My consciousness was going white as if covered in mist. My thought power had become paralyzed, was becoming paralyzed. What day is this today? Wasn't it Thursday? What happened yesterday, was it? The lack of changes was making my sense of time go mad. This sucks. My stomach growled. I seemed to be hungry. The door opened. It was her, holding a bucket of hot water. Bad time. I like how she always thinks about bad time every day. That's a good thing. Whatever. But even though my mouth said that, my body was honest. The moment I saw Yoko-chan, my whole body skin bubbled. I had been anticipating for the fragment of intense pleasure she would give me. She stooped down beside
Daichi.
Before my eyes, that girl was there. Oh, Agassi. She who'd always maintained her unchanging self was now becoming tense. This is bad. I'm getting stressed because I'm approached. I feel the scent of her body. Why is this? With a bewitching smile, she informed me.
これは契約。一緒の日に死ぬために命に刻むの。
Harv?
一心同体になるの。
and then two small shadows overlapped. A Yume. An old dream. So these memories remain too. I'm pretty sure this was the first time I met her. My consciousness suddenly cleared. Ah, that's right. I've been confined. I saw the night sky through the window. Today was Thursday, right? Escape. I have to escape. And then, just like usual. Has it become morning? Midday, maybe. My sense of time was completely gone. I'm sure the meal periods are being thrown off each time, so I can't judge it by my stomach anymore. Going away with yet another hour, another minute of the same suffering. I realized I was looking at the doorknob, anticipating a visitor, and then I realized, after thinking that I was in a deep solitude, after only a few days, just by being locked up in my room, I was a child. I was being so optimistic. To think of living alone. To think of being able to make it alone. Why did I think that? My body was hot. My legs were rubbing against each other, but the pulsing in my crotch wouldn't die down. The doorknob turned. I looked. There was no leeway. Change, lust, hunger. Various desires loaded up like a fever. Yoko-chan. My lust in particular was at its limit. My body felt like tearing apart. First, I was made to drink water. Various things were dealt with. My body was wiped with a steam towel. Once those were finished, her fingertips caressed my lower abdomen. My penis bent backward as...
はい。おしまい。
Bro, that was super quick. Like, that was like 2-3 lines and it was over. What the fuck? I moaned from the bottom of my heart. How killing. Hell. My body twisted, my knees rose, my forehead stayed, and my teeth gritted.
大地。かわいい。好き。
Then she walked out. A toy. I'm a toy. No. A tool somehow. Comical doll dependency. And then, just like always, morning came again. A morning without sparrows or cicadas. A morning that didn't feel real. True or false skin and flesh. A butterfly's dream. TL note. A story in which a man dreams he is a butterfly, then begins to wonder whether the butterfly is the real him and the man is his dream, and then becomes that butterfly. I've been lamenting on not having an unending dream. Night. Since it's dark. It's also dark when I close my eyes. I mistake it for night. When I open my eyes, it's midday. During that blink, the world was created and destroyed. I breathed. Tiny amounts of stress accumulated and made me do that. Yoko-chan was suddenly there. An illusion. The son of a girl. Reality?
どんな気持ち？
But she? I don't know. I can't think. About feelings. I just think that I want to disappear. I can't avoid. Okay. That was a longer stage scene. And they actually did it. Alright, let's go. I think today is Sunday. My head was feeling refreshed. Because yesterday, yesterday, I had to scourge everything. My fashion left, and my rationality returned. You could say that meant Yoko-chan made a mistake. Can I take these off? The parts of the chains connected to the bed were the most fragile. I put continuous force in them, but there was no sign of them coming off, which means I really do have nothing but the Joker. I became melancholic. Someone who was once my other half. Would this be a betrayal? But I still don't want to disappear. It'll hurt to be returned to square one after losing to myself. Surmounting oneself is as hard as writing self-denial. But, you know, since I hate myself, I don't want to lose to a guy I hate. I don't hate Yoko-chan, but I had to hurt her. Even she has a weak point. After piercing that point, she'll easily reach breakdown. It'll be a mortal wound. I closed my eyes and thought. From the first time I met her until now, my eyes open. There's no hesitation. Gomen ne, Yoko-chan. I'm going to do something unfair. And then,
おはよう。体、服から最後くらいは綺麗でいたいでしょう。
and then, when she finished her work, she
こ
said,
れでお別れ。減少になった私たちに無駄な干渉は必要ない。けど、太一、ごめんなさい。固有のあなたを全て保持する方法はない。だから、最後に一度だけ一緒に来て。
an entreaty. The attitude of hers surprised me a little.
今の個体が痛むまでは二人で同じ時を過ごせる。永遠ではないけど、私たちにとって有用な時間になると思う。太一。
I reached the offer, but I'm.
そう。
I took my silence as denial and made a small
じゃ
sign.
あ太一、また来週。覚えてはいないでしょうけど。
And then she left. I opened my mouth. Weakling. She froze in place.
え？
I said, weakling. On top of that, uragi ni mano. Thanks, Silent Laura. She turned around and her face looked like a wax
太
figure's.
一。
I tried smiling, with a little malice. Did you think that I'd forgotten? That my memories have flown away from the shock? I do remember. Everything. Or did you think that there was no way I'd touch on it? That it wasn't possible with my way of thinking? I beat up my frozen childhood friend with words. I loved you. I really did love you. My memory returned at once to my childhood. You, who I met in the library and never talked to. Your back was always straight, and you gazed only at yourself, not mingling with anyone. I love you that way. But I never wanted to get to know you, because there was no need to contact you. But I couldn't do anything about being cornered by you and destroyed. I do sympathize a little with that. I didn't know what happened, and I do think I was more respectable back then than I am now. But because you broke that tactic,
や
understanding,
めて。
a voice shaking weakly, you spoke to
太
me.
一。
Wasn't I your only and one and only ally in that mansion? That's why I suddenly began conscious of it.
事の起こりなんてどうでもいい。私は太一を選んだだけ。
She rallied herself and made her inner fright submit in order to say that. Impressively, her voice was
そ
regular.
の心の機微を言語化しようとは思わない。好きで愛してる二人は一心同体。切ることのできない絆。それでいいと思う。
I don't think so. You would have been fine with anyone. With anyone who would be a competent ally. You chose me? That's not it. It was automatic, because there was no one other than me. What was the result of that? You lost your independence, and I became a monster. And then...
やめて。
Oh, rare sprite. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting this, man. Holy shit. They really kept this shit, man. For the first time, she showed violent emotions. That's the domain of fear, Yoko-chan. That's true. Honto? Honto da yo? Not for a day had I forgotten, because those were my roots. One mind and body. We certainly made that promise. But being one mind and body means completely ascending to one another. Yoko-chan quivered on one step back. That day, the day you and I took each other's hands. The day we elaborately contrived, planned, and tried to massacre the Shinkawas. The day of revenge. Isn't that what you said? Wasn't it something you tried to do? The original Yoko-chan would have tried to pull that off alone. You relied on me. And then?
違う。違う。違う。それは違うの。
It's not wrong. I loaded my chosen words. Bullet sure to kill a beast. For myself, for me to remain myself, for tomorrow, for next week, for me to regret everything next Monday and immerse myself in nostalgic memories that Sunday, and for me and the things I like to continue to be me and the things I like. For the final crossing of my life, I pulled the trigger. Because that day, you didn't kill a single one. Asakura Yoko broke into a radioactive state. I killed them all! With traps and flames and blades. Didn't I kill them all? Didn't you do nothing at all? She screamed. Only her scream was still strong. Back then, I was just the one who did it. I did it 100% for her. You were just afraid. But that was it. You'll be fine. I was satisfied just by releasing and returning you to your former self. Everything ended. You looked at return me. Didn't you feel terror? Her soul deep-rooted feeling. Her backstory with me. Trauma. How are we one mind and body? How am I your everything? You're a traitor. Mimi Senpai was cute compared to you. After I killed dozens, after I rushed into an irrevocable domain, that's where I broke. Half of me that should have been my sole ally rejected me. That moment, my sense of values broke down. I no longer understood anything. My heart, far more removed from humans. And after that, I thank you for raising me back again. Thanks to that, I was able to pretend to be a person. I love and adore you. On the paperwork, at least. But why were you unable to cut me away back then? That's my only real question. A question came to her eyes. Wasn't I unnecessary once you were done with me?
それは大地を好きになったから。
A person at the zenith like you wouldn't want such a degenerate love. If you'd gone on that way, surely you would have become something incredible, you idiot. Threw so much time in maintaining me. What me would satisfy you? We aren't the same as you say. I have absolutely no need of you whatsoever, and you...
やめて!
shouldn't have any need of me either. You're here, by inertia, and the momentum of that incident. Then you pretended not to notice. That rudimentary deception. Can that be forgiven? Is that something you can forgive yourself for? Will Hasakura Yoko forget that? Isn't that the stage of remaining altogether too small? I don't think the Yoko-chan I know would forgive that.
大地、よして。お願いだから。
Nearly got killed for trying to use me. As someone who'd be your unconditional ally until your own heart healed. As a convenient and precise pawn. And because of these eyes, to you, there was only one choice in that environment. Adults were useless. They're easy to trace. But a child would be judged that a child couldn't possibly kill dozens. The choice called me. Wasn't that the absolute right choice? One body and one mind. A vow that should have been carved into our lives. It was a suggestion. It was pleasure and compulsive obsession. And to think that you'd shrink back. When I dismembered the first one, splattering you with brains and bloods and guts. That was all it took. You became unable to move a muscle. And then you stopped.
やめて。
I continued moving, comparatively speaking, because I idolize you. I did my best, so much so that I became strange. And I can also conclude this. You're not in love with me or anything. You're afraid of me. When you feared me, there were only two choices. Would you disappear, or would you assimilate? That was the request made to a system in your heart. A safety system different from feelings. You degraded who you once were, damaged and destroyed me, and wished for a phenomenon. What if you went back now? Inform her gently.
いや、やだ。帰りたくない。一緒にいる。
Because you have a strong, superficially excellent mind. You can't disobey a result once laid down. You had become automatic. What would you do if you were crushed under your own weight? That's like a scientifically analyzed monster. Move the change. Yoko-chan wouldn't move. I'm telling you, to remove them. She left the room and brought the key. Her shaking hands unlocked the chains. I was released. I'll live the way I am now. Will you try and stop me by force? I don't intend to lose this time.
大地に抵抗したくない。
Then, do you want to be sent back on your last legs? Or do you want to end it yourself?
でも、大地のいない世界に戻っても。
If you choose the former, I will send you back by force. Then I'll cut off all relations with you into my heart. If you choose the latter, then I won't do that.
どっちもやだ。私はそれでも大地のことを。
Don't use your heart as a pretense for acting against others. When I yelled, she twitched. I put a hand on her shoulder. You'll be alone. Until you die. Inform her gently. All people are. She fell to her knees. She covered her face and sighed. Her voice then leaped. She was silent. I pushed the corners of her eyes as if combing her hair with my fingers. Is she crying or not? Hasakura Yoko just stayed still, with her face covered. That was her crying out. And I brought her to the Hokura. It was as if she lost her soul. I have one last thing to say. I really did love you,
大地、
since I was always watching you.
一ついい。誰だって多かれ少なかれ自動的に人を好きになる。じゃあどうやれば正しく好きになれるの？
Don't desire rewards. That's all there is to it. The moment you desire a reward, I think it becomes a business dealing. Change, trade, so that can give you what's good for you. To say it another way, self-love that allows foreign trading. There's no way to deny that. But to become a pair that way, it must be beyond hopeless. I forced a smile. Friendship isn't the only thing that desires nothing in return. The answer was nearby.
どうにもならなかったことなの。私が大地を壊してしまったから。
Even though I didn't become one mind and body with you, I'm sure that I saved you. And that we come neatly to the same conclusion.
なんだ。
She showed a slight, tired smile.
じゃあお姫様していればよかったのね。
That's right. But at the same time, because you needed something pure to give you a shot in the arm. The possibility of you using the nearby me really was high. You should have just cut me off after using me. Since even if you did, I probably would have continued loving you.
それで寂しくないの？相手から何も与えられない。寂しくはならない。
I love looking at beautiful things. That comes first. It always has. That feeling alone was my very first emotion. That's why I'm fine.
もし太一がまた向こう側に戻ってきたら、私再挑戦する。
Yeah. You better at least become the king of Japan by then, Yoko-chan.
それは大変すぎるかな。旺盛にしないといけないから。
Would it be? I smiled. She remained looking down. Goodbye, Hasakura Yoko. Oh, August, you. I lowered my head reverently.
さよ
I saw her crying face. With that, I was immediately satisfied. I closed my eyes.
「胸痛いんだ。失恋って知らなかった。」
For a while, I stayed there. A sense of accomplishment. A sense of loss. They were getting mixed up, and I couldn't deal with them. At long last... Oh, that was a scream. Anyway, I screamed at the sky. There was no meaning. I just threw out my emotions. What the... Everything. I'm alone in the world. The place I should be has become my sanctuary.
頑張ったね。
You again. She hadn't come out for a while.
抱っこしてやろっか。
I do kind of feel like that. But no. This week is Yoko-chan's after all.
そっか。
For my eyes, this was probably the last time. They were starting to lose their tapetum function, I guess. The existence of the gate looked vaguer than before. As the function of my eyes become normal, they should become unable to observe. Unless I'm reset, of course. But I have no such intention.
そろそろだね。
Yeah, about
お
time.
疲れ様。
Yeah. Arigato, Oka-san.
じゃあまた来週。
What do you mean, arigato, Oka-san? Is he just saying that? What? Nanaga disappeared without a trace, conspicuously. I realized... Did I say Oka-san? And then the world's twilight.
おい太一
Huh? Sakuraba?
ほら原稿だ
What manuscript?
DJ なんだろ
I'm... DJ? I have a feeling I was.
先輩の DJ ちょっと楽しみ。
A little?
私は先輩が恥かくところが楽しみです。
Is it a given that I will?
原稿どうだ？
I guess it's not bad, I thought. The content? I don't really get it. No, I'm reading it. I can't understand it.
ちょっと何ぼんやりしてんの。ちゃんとしなさいよ。
こ
なんなのその顔。気合い足りないんじゃない？とか言ってラブラブラブラブ。今何か言ったかしら1年生。言ってません。ラブラブなんて言ってません。切っちゃおうかしら。やば、先輩助けて。切られる。先輩なら助けてくださいよ。
Not that convenient.
ちょっとどっちの味方なの太一。
よし、やった。はあ、危なかった。
原因何だったんだ？接触不良か？
いや、断線だからケーブル類買い直せって言ったんだけど。
そんなことしたらみんなの焼肉代がなくなります。
どっち優先してんだよ、姉さんは。
Huh? One-san? Don't you mean One-chan?
うるさいな。自立の時なんだよ、僕は。
Warm. A warm world.
先輩、何もできませんけど応援してます。
Yusa-chan, were you in the broadcasting club?
太一、制服が乱れてる。イコール心の乱れでもある。
Yoko-chan.
ほら、直してあげるわ。むつみさんに恥をかかせるわけにはいかないもの。
This feels somehow nostalgic, but moderately kind, moderately harsh.
無償に旅に出たくなった。行くか。
行くな。
いつも思うんですけど、旅行の資金とかどうしてるんですか？
あるだけでやりくりするのが敏腕トラベラー。
月給3000円の自分には想像がつかないですね。騙されちゃダメよ。桜庭の家って甘々なんだから。何十万。桜庭くん定額。
なぜだ？
旅先でホテルに泊まっているうちはまだまだね。あ、ペケくん時間です。覚悟はいいですか？さあ、初めての DJ 鬼が出るかジャが出るか。
悪い方しか想定されてないって。
まあ頑張んなさい。
頑張れよ。
楽しみです。
肩の力を抜いていきなさい。
Yeah, this is good. I'm being fulfilled. So right. And he passes me by. However, can happiness be felt as much? Nah, Nina. Let's make an idiotic commotion, right? Okay? And when I woke up, it was already midday. I stayed overnight at the school again, even though I don't want to go back home, so my days will be like a normal person's. But it's pretty tough to prepare this alone. Subway was great. Now then, more to do today. I consciously spoke. If I don't, I feel like I'll forget my language. Begin work. Pause work. Araheta. The bentos Yoko-chan made were no longer here. I prepared everything myself now. In the school, other than bad karipan, there's croquet-pan. If I go into town, well, I can probably eat a lot of stuff there. I looked at my surroundings. Empty bags of karipan were scattered around. Though croquet-pan is supposed to be good, I didn't feel like putting any of it in my mouth. A silent hallway. A silent club. Silent days. I got what I wished for. My heart is at ease. A world where I can't hurt anyone. A world where I won't be made aware of what a failure I am. A world where I can be honest, be my honest self without trying to improve. Be my honest self. Living through you with my friends. Even though these two concepts are often used as a pair, for me they're exclusive. Doesn't that make distortion necessarily somewhere? For example, the character used in an MMORPG had intelligence and speed of 99. Everything else was 1. But he was strong. The balance statically denied, and you can't know what's right. Like me. But now that I'm here, I can live on with a peaceful heart. I have a lot of memories after all. I tried peeking into a classroom. I have nothing to do here. Their conversation. Two who were always together, yet not interdependent. One of them desired something in place of what once was. One of them set up the girl she relied on. A brutal composition. To the utmost, those two had been touching one another. Just a little. A fortunate discovery of a point of contact. However, will those two be able to reach that same place after returning? Vast experience is needed for Miki to feel earnestly about Kitty, and it seems that it will take time for Kitty to be released from the curse of guilt. I'll stop. Even if I think about this, there's no longer a way to contact those two. I can't cross them. All correspondence was closed off. Then, they both came rushing toward me. They rushed off to my left and right while making noise and disappeared. The girl's gentle breeze softly brushed the tip of my nose, like a scent left behind. Though it's an illusion. I didn't close the gate. There's no longer any reason to close this place up, because this world has no one who can hurt others. Obviously, no one will be found at fault even if they escape during class time. I came here, to a childhood friend's store. I searched for appropriate food and drink. For some reason, the phenomena of the decomposition doesn't occur here. I decided to stick a memo on the wall, like I'm doing every week. Meaningless conduct. But it's nice to perform a certain amount of labor to obtain food, because if I neglect even that, it would be like leaving my body to a lax death. But either way, it doesn't change the fact that I'm dreaming. How ironic. I decided to eat in my own classroom. Doko had always sat here, because there was nowhere else. Her back was straight and her chin high. She was the one who walked proudly. Once a hand is held out to her, she soon degenerates, maybe out of unfamiliarity. The thawed Toko was unstable. Just by being treated kindly, she pulled down the walls she built. Her clumsiness shows how hanging out with people became her weak point. However much you can trust someone, you should leave an appropriate distance. If you end up dependent, it's hard in many ways. Because you can bring each other down. The people that don't mind becoming dependent should be. I don't want to. Though there is what happened with Yoko-chan. More than anything, I seem to like things which stay still and beautiful. It's like the feeling of appreciating art. I wonder if she's crying on the other side, with no one to rely on. In the end, I betrayed Toko twice. I wonder if she can endure it. I heave a heavy sigh. I heard those lisping, dominating words insult me, only inside my ears. The club room, the place where we hung out in. Naturally, they weren't here. The relationships between us three, you could say they were healthy. Relationships you could find anywhere or close to that. Thus, they were like miracles to me. There were no words to speak, just the noble dazzle of what I parted with, which made my heart creak and my breath stop the more I thought about it. I stood there staring vacantly. Back to club activities. How much will I have to work to prepare this on my own? I know the pace a lot myself. If I give it my all, I'd finish in 3 days, since it's something I'd repeated over and over. And had the knowledge. I mastered the procedure. That's why I'm deliberately taking my time while making detours. A different way of doing it than Senpai's. In a sense, she was also making detours. I thought about it occasionally, ignoring efficiency, piling on meaningless procedures. Senpai has supported the club alone before ever. There's no way she didn't know the basics. The ravine of family, and then the disappearance of people. There were plenty of reasons for both Senpai and Tomoki to flee with all their strength. Let's have a lengthy and energetic club. I spoke. Again today I'll labor from sunup to sundown. Evening. Life's activities on the Earth's surface were frozen, but yet the sky has been loyally repeating its occupation, as if it was a virtual image of summer forgotten inside the mirror. Behind the real image, disappearing at the speed of light. Now, for a measure of leisure. One moment in the history of the universe, week X to people. I'll go home. I know it won't rain, but I return the tools and materials to the prefab structure. Good work. Kotsukare. I said the ritual phrase with no one around and left for home. On the way home, I passed by the shopping district and stocked up on food. I reached my home and I felt relief. Whether people are here or not, that doesn't change. Absent-minded cooking. I baked dinner in the garden. I cooked simply and gathered the garbage in a plastic bag. There's no need to dispose of it. For 1 week, a single plastic bag is enough. The evening breeze had a burning scent. Crap! I hurried out to the garden. All black. I certainly can't eat this. I'll cook again. I forget when, but there was a time I burned down the house. That was tough. I could have calmed down spending the night at someone else's house, so I stayed in the club room. I'll be careful this time. It'll be meaningless if I made a mistake and burned myself. Late dinner. By the time I finished eating, it was well into night. I felt something that seemed to be lurking in my heart. Maybe it'll come tonight. I can't calm down. I decided to put that in my diary. Moving my hands is an important thing, especially at times when it feels like my small heart will tear apart. What happened today was... I recorded the club activities. And after that... There, my pen stopped. There's nothing. Nothing happened. Not even possibilities of something happening. That's why... Why did I even start a Nikki? I closed it. I didn't feel like it anymore. I searched for something to do. I tried lighting a candle and reading books. I soon got distracted. There will be no opportunity to read the next volume. My stomach became heavy. Crap. Tomorrow I'll go to the bookstore and search for a complete series. I'll sleep. I leaped into bed. I will sleep! I tried flailing. I tried swimming. I was tired. Wind blew in. Without insects, it was fine to leave it all the way open. A refreshing summer. Thankful for that. Using those labors, I'll get to sleep in a wink. I'll count sheep. 1 scapegoat, 2 scapegoats. Sheep are ordinary, so I tried it with goats. It felt somehow different, but it seemed to be extremely accurate. There was no one to talk to, no trifling goodwill to receive. But there I was anticipating a little. Her omnipotence, a subject to being ignored. I stared energetically walking with a vigor that would shake off those futile attachments. School. My whistling this morning eventually became hoarse. Let's make it lengthy again today. I proclaimed and got straight to work. I pulled out the tools inside the prefab and lined them up in their prescribed positions. Internally, I paused for a moment. I entered the shade under the tent. I didn't sleep. I just laid down for a bit. Ugh! I was fast asleep. It really would be wrong to not do anything for a whole day. 5 revolutions of agony. I hurried back to work. Oh! I hurt my finger. I mustn't get hurt. I must not. There are no doctors. If I caught a curable illness, well, I can't do anything about that. This had gotten troublesome. I brought out a water gun and fired outside the fence. The bundle of flow of water was immediately scattered by the wind and changed to vapor. Ah, a rainbow. A small 7-color bridge. It gracefully adorned the dust. Ooh. That took my mind off of things a little. The school hills. Things I remember. Yutaka and Nanaka. Especially Nanaka. When I said her name, my heart was squeezed. Why did you continue to be my ally until the end? The end? Still not certain that this is the end. It's just... she won't show herself anymore. Given Nanaka's personality, there's no doubt she'll make everything clear when she leaves. She fell in love with someone. There's no doubt she'll confess by punching that guy into the air. That might be going too far. Hey, Nanaka! I tried predicting that she'd appear unexpectedly riding her bike out of a blind spot between hills. I had a feeling she would. Reading. It's manga though. I'm passing the thoughtless time. Again, I had to live on carefree. There's no need to rush life. If I rush, it will soon burst. Manga is fun. If there's something unsatisfying about it, it'll be that content is too lively. Lots of people show up. I can endure a little of that now. In the mountain deep in Saitama. No idea. That's right. I continued working while composing an impromptu song. When I didn't know something, I looked it up. I killed quite a bit of time. The books I brought from the club room and the library immediately filled the room. It was a pain to take them all back, so I just shoved them into the prefab. Still, this really was for an SOS. There were plenty of more efficient ways to do it. Without EM waves, it certainly would have been faster to choose the place with a transceiver. Senpai had realized that people no longer existed, so the club was effectively the right answer, and she was right to include useless things in it. I noticed I'd come to the shopping district. I'd become a night prowler, and I noticed wasn't accurate. I'll go home. Was tired of running around. Oyasumi, I said to myself. I rolled up into the sheets. I couldn't really get to sleep. I'm looking at the world from the roof. The countless and varied ordinary days crushed into this roof, and into the mountains or into the beach. I couldn't imagine what scenes would continue beyond those. The breath the city sometimes sent out. It's fading, and I'm beginning to forget it. I'm sure that's because it has no feeling for its core. I know that people have always been staring in my eyes. Sleep. Neru, neru, neru. 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 There's a lot of them. When I wake up, I'm alone. I'm solitary. I read somewhere that people are alone in essence. That all living things are like that, but only people are aware of it. I began thinking that insects might be the more complete life forms. Lack of sleep. Even so, I had to go to school. If I let myself go at this point, it'll be rough later. It'll add to the loneliness. People are always feeling pressure from others around them. It's comfortable to be released at times. Too much depression distorts the heart. However, there's nothing. One's self will diffuse infinitely, but there's no self with that much density. It diluted without end. I'm no different from nothingness. I can't imagine. And me, assimilated with the world. Isn't that lonely? Now that I'm the same as the world, will I forget about the tiny physical body that my sender was left in? What do hearts even reside in people anyway? Trying to enter school hurts. My heart hurts. Because it's an empty box. Though it was once a Jack in the Box, a box of surprises. Now, it no longer is. A box of void. Now it's frightening. That's how I felt. After all, before there was someone nearby I could touch and feel. I forced myself to answer. Aha! It was hard to talk. It was hard to construct words. Now, then... No good, I'm becoming hoarse. I'm getting hoarse. Vocalization is hard. Once you're conscious of it, it really is. That's why subjective descriptions are endlessly emotional. Lol, like that one. Cry, and that one. Rage, and that one. Cross. Ah, that one I know well. It's like a subtle two-tone night. My hair lost its color from the yelling. The murderous skills inside me were perfected in a week. If I ask someone who's amazing with numbers, that'll be ephemeral like Marie Antoinette, using the new technique of real-time monologue. When I was a child, I thought it was Marie Antoinette. I thought Angkor Wat was Angkor Wat. I thought turtlenecks were turtlenecks. And how I once wrote the theoretical central place of Orkney Islands during the Neolithic period, Okini no Shinseki Jidai no Shuchi Nichi, entirely in the katakana, thinking it was the name of some magician from the Dragon Palace. This stuff doesn't matter at all. Seal note. The Dragon Palace refers to the mythical undersea palace, the Japanese dragon god of the sea. Anyway, the hallway. No one's here. Nothing's here. Nothing was moving. Aren't cats sensitive to motion? That's the way. And it's my way. The phrase shogunai comes from the expression "there is no way," meaning that without a documented way, you can't get good results. When I said that, Tomoki used to come back to make up lies that programmers might believe. Tomoki's a good guy. I love club activities. Again today, I'll go and be covered in an overpowering sense of omnipotence. I got plenty of memories with Tomoki. The two of us, pre-counting Sakuraba, were always readying fun systems. It felt like that would explode. That is the other that. A sort of this, which can be only described as that. That is that, and this is this. That's why I swallowed. I swallowed about 7 times. And then I swallowed. Good food. A scream on the inside. I was full. The things inside me fall down heavily on the bottom and then come out. Except from behind. Club activities are falling behind. It's already Friday. I underestimated it. Then I decided to work. As part of my new person campaign. Oh! 5 minutes later, I didn't want to keep thinking about the little thing, so I stopped. It was the end of one part. Don't worry, there's a second volume. Even one part ends, there's a second volume. Huh? Aren't one part and volume 2 different kinds of counting words? There are some weird words out there. Spray of water shot across the spherical orange place in the sky. No, it's not spherical. That guy might be circular. The flat sun's eerie. A world with nothing moving is harsh. Come out, something. The sun is slowly changing positions. But that's missing something. Because I can't get to it. It's a light class heavenly body that can't even become a black hole. It feels like I've lost. Go learn a thing or two from Scorpio V861. I want some kind of big reveal. Also, I want to see a big white dwarf. I'm pretty sure that's Sakuraba. Didn't he hit the target for being a convicted criminal unfit for that role? The thought criminal who was dissatisfied with his occupational field obtained a target used in archery. Please, look at me! Ah, a branch! The branch! Destroy the fence. The fictional branch has come. I can't see it. Amazing. Perfect. And then it fell. A power pulled the fictional branch down toward the ground. Pulling power. Destroyed the fence with something like giant industrial pliers. I'll call it gravity. Gravity is written with the kanji for pull and force. This is a huge discovery. The beginning and the end of the age of discovery. The severed portion of the fence clumsily glided down. Unlimited words. My brain swam. I did a synapse leap. Yeah. Toko came and attacked. The ruined to insert the emotion of meaning, parting, and then reunion. You can't search for her mother. The name I want to clear is... And then I collapse. Go in, Toko. My heart itched. I felt blood. Release is needed. I had to shine by myself. Should I restore my name by wooing Kiri? I should give up my honor by wooing earnestly. I wooed through her. I gave her a loud wooing. Imperfect pickup lines. But I couldn't get a sexy answer. Why? That's because Kiri is a child. I lamented my actions. Damn it! Even though regretting doing is better than regretting not doing. I can't control this alone. Now, Kitty, please answer my irritated feelings. I made use of a monologue to inform her. A monologue is supposed to be done alone, but since the nuance of the character foreground are being used in TV game show grammar, those people who want to poke the corners of the stat boxes should attack. I hate the words speak the truth. It sounds kind of half-ass. Gyarandu is good. Gyarandu is Hideki Saijo's 44th single. Hideki is the most famous for singing the Japanese version of YMCA. Yeah, I'll do that. Sate. I'll make use of a monologue to Gyarandu. I'll make her come. It's nice that the word Gyarakushi or galaxy resembles a sense for a language in general. It doesn't resemble that you. If you ask which, it'll be you. Better than no. It's talking about the Japanese language, Japanese letters you and no. Those aren't words. So Kitty, how is it? Kitty said seriously.
フライドチキンの性別が気になりますか?
Yeah, I do. I do care. But there's no way. The grenade exploded. We died. You fought well on the weapon in hand, but the scorpions were many. It was impossible to defend against all of their trusting stingers. At long last, your consciousness faded. And when you collapse, the scorpions bury themselves into your body, while exuding their first tasty flesh in some time. Your adventure ended. In order to halt the evil plans of the Warlock, you must return to Paragraph 1 and do your adventure over. We pray that your next adventure will have sufficient protection from the goddess. I apologize for my thoughts mixing with some book I read a long time ago. It was impossible, after all, being alone. Here, I gave a camera to a special correspondent Yoko. Whoa, she was here. She's slowly looking at me. She did indeed receive formal Ichihara training. That's wrong. This is quite different. This is heterogeneous. Heterogeneous in the sense that it's too excellent. What do you do about a person with no failures? A human with exceedingly low failure rate. Once you put it into words, there's not much to it, but she'll live 200 times through a situation in which a normal person would die 100 times. That's a true actor. The abilities of a Hollywood main characters for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Their abilities are highest before the last 10 minutes. There, I thought, anti-movie. A story where the guy is oversleeping until the last 10 minutes, where he goes into God mode and beats the enemies right at the end. Then I thought of something entirely out of context. A story starting with humanity's annihilation. This is it. This truly feels like me. Assault him. Which conduct is more slowly? Speaking ill of others or promoting oneself? What is it with those things? I asked
ブ
her.
ライダルお姫様抱っこ
Amazingly philosophical. I suck. I can't win. Forget it. Get back to camera. Who should I play with? Okay, Mimi senpai. She's sleeping. She woke up.
モラルの欠如、行き過ぎた利己的な個人主義、自分が怠惰に過ごすために利用される基本的人権、このようなイーコハザードによって汚染されている現代社会に、私たち若者は互いに築き上げる交友を持つことができるのでしょうか。我が群青学院放送部はこの疑問に対して満足のゆく答えを提供することができると考えています。
A big one came out. That's my Mimi senpai. This person's weakness somehow resembles the texture of boobs. Oh, die. That's why I mean it when I say I love her. Actually, I don't love her or anything. Falling in love is something decided on the startup. Well, man, I got harpooned. Is being called Mimi that unpleasant? Though that is cute. Damn. So now it's Miki. I had to get her to compliment me. Hey, hey! Hey, hey! I began a repeating broadcast. Though it's a monologue. Still, this must be the result of an amazingly vigorous fan service mentality. Is that okay? Will that be forgiven? Was that certified? Will this get into the adult category?
にゃごろ
Gatsby? This sucks. I haven't finished that course. I can't make myself understand. It should be understand. As if I'll become someone who can only look at underwear. Well, okay then. I stared at underwear for about 14 hours. In terms of time, it took about 4 seconds. Thank you, Miki. Goodbye. After play is recreation. I work hard at club. This away, that away. I work automatically. All people are partly automatic. What's so wrong about that?
退屈で気が狂いそうになりますよ。
Huh?
ダメですよ。
I can't. What? Sora. And then, ground far below. That moment, rupture. Ah! For the C words, I was able to disconnect. I extended my hand. I grasped no straw. Teal note, probably referring to a proverb: a drowning man will cling to even a piece of straw. My consciousness twirled and turned over like takoyaki and came back to this world. I'm sure you guys know what takoyaki is, so I'm not going to read that. My consciousness observes all but this world. I've been trying to start out through the fence I destroyed. My stiffened fingers were gripping the wire mesh on both sides. It's probably right on the edge. I pushed the fence aside like a door. I did it. I had that memory. It had been partitioned into the corners of my memory and mixed in with other languages so I couldn't determine it. My fingertips were white. The gypsum. Because I've been straining them all this time. My center of gravity pulled back behind me. Now I'm safe. I won't fall. The fence had dug into my fingers. It became toiled and torn. I had pain. Also, blood forming the shape of the wire mesh. I couldn't believe I just tried to commit suicide. I mustn't die. Because I killed so many to live. Isn't that right? Yoko-chan? Even if I call her, she won't appear. I held myself. Cold. I won't be able to go on like this. I started running into the school. Ah! I race. People. People! Somewhere. People! Miki! Kitty! Not there. I collapsed onto the desk. I continued collapsing. textbook slid onto the floor. Neither of them are here. Fear. There's no one in this space. I ran away. Long, narrow space. A sense of danger somewhere said that I'll be done for if I was pinned down here. The enemy is the void. Those guys are everywhere. They're already enveloping me. At this rate, I'll diffuse and become diluted. I passed by the stairs, the second-year classroom. Toko's classroom. A small stronghold isolated from the surroundings. But its owner wasn't here. She'd been sent back along with her stiffened will. Couldn't she have stayed for just a little bit longer? Ah! Ah! I tumbled and ran and passed through the gate. I wandered around the town, searching for survivors. There was never more than the dregs of crossing worlds, so there may not have ever been any to begin with. But I can't not. What's this? Isn't this double negative? I can't not search for them. People can't not desire. Oh, okay. No, that's correct. That's what he's saying. One by one, I checked the houses. Half a day of madness. I continued desiring. I fell down in front of the gate. Seriously. There's not even one. How much I search, however much I search, no one was there anymore. But in exchange for that effort, I calmed down a bit. Was that because of my severe exercise, or something my brain did? That's right. So they made me go to the mountain. I doubted my eyes. There's nothing. The faded, undefined, incomprehensible space had completely and utterly disappeared. It can't be. Had it discontinued existing for thousands of weeks? No, maybe tens of thousands of weeks. Why did it go away? Atonement, despair, emotions beyond description, pain. I just stood there, restrained by what was being brought about in my heart. Why? I want to run away. I want to run. An obvious emotion. Even in my own heart, a desperately raised that was there. Mimi-senpai. Tomoki. Kiri. Miki. Yoko-chan. Damn, where's Toko? Holy shit. I'm talking about what the hell, man? You forgot about them? Anyway, I can't smile about them. But the gate is already gone. Even if I wanted to go home, I couldn't. Revise. It was no longer out of phase. Alone. Across world. Crossing at one point. Each and every flow was still continuing. That's right. This town of void I'm in is already past its crossing point. If I try imagining the letter X, it makes sense. Two sticks. Two separate flows. I momentarily cross, but the flow won't stop. Am I already riding one of the flows? No. That's not it. This town is the dregs. The crossing point of the dregs of the two flows. A cross point that became void, when actuality passed on. This laugh is a blessing. I don't know how much time passed before the gate disappeared. Might have been pretty fast. Might have been the length of time that would make me dizzy. Either way, I put up with it. I fought on as my refuge moved farther and farther away. I won. Isn't that all that's certain? If I had no refuge, then I had no choice but to live. This is fine. Now, look at this. Look at the true me. You will. I will. Be kept here forever. In my chest, countless emotions mingled and drew across. A fictional tapestry woven together. Those were sparkles of will and emotion without coloring. I screamed. to the limit of my voice, shaking my vocal cords enough to tear apart the sky. That was no longer a voice. Sound. I, who am a phenomenal proper existence, couldn't become anything but a physical creaking. My sight was buried in visual effects. My consciousness was a hallucination taking form. It was beautiful like lace, moving up from fearsome passions. As shaking, one could catch a glimpse of an impure wasteland. This is... I am... My eyes are taking in the invisible. I thought it was an illusion. On the other hand, I grasped that it was true. This is a denatured consciousness. Trance, inspiration, comprehension, revelation, mysteries. Things which are called those. The mentality reached an extreme, causing a phenomenon where one's outermost layer connects to one's latent consciousness. I was chased into a corner. Stress. I stood still after being hit by lightning, and the side of my consciousness ached. That which was on my side. That was a composed layer of knowledge left a distance away from intricate emotions. My profound consciousness informed me. Wrong. Recognition was sprinkled. Wrong. I didn't fall into a state of denatured consciousness. Knowledge. Brain activities aren't that chaotic in the present situation. That which is suitable can be seen with a number of functions, and there are traces of having mastered them in the present situation. Which means knowledge, denatured consciousness, abnormal mental state, autonomous thoughts, and emotions in the inner heart functions are displayed, and various examples of strange speech and conduct can be seen. Attain an overpowering sense of omnipotence, which resulted in hallucinations close to spiritual experiences, religious experience, trip trance, etc. Exploded from understanding. Most of the pressure came to a physical phenomenon and pinned me down. Mysteries were being organically coupled. On one line, in a circle, with the beginning and ending connecting. Circular. A circle of understanding. My consciousness was the nature from the very beginning. That day, I altered. And have been that way until today. And that bypass that might explode at any time. Perpetual connection. I can't control my heart's amplitude. Instincts scattered about. My rationality is going mad. Void dialogues and not maintain my consciousness in the place of rationality. So as to convert spurts of sweet sewage with muddy water. So as to not be weeded out of a world of rationality spreading out around me. And then, my oldest memory, have been floating in the depths like a tar. That was a story from even before the consciousness denaturing occurred.
ごめんね、大地。
Why? Is she? I met her at the same time the loop began. Why is she... in my oldest memories? After all, I haven't lost my memo explosion.
大地、君の名前だよ。ごめんね。私が計画性のない子だから。パパのこと好きになっちゃったから。必死に生きてたからさ、パパ。短い人生って分かってて、必死に。そんでね、私も長くないんだって。ごめんね。大地はこれからいっぱい苦労すると思う。私ももういないパパも味方になってあげられないんだ。でもね、愛してるよ、大地。すごく愛してる。産んでよかったって思う。もし生まれ変われたらもう一度産んであげたいってくらいだよ。そんくらい愛してるんだ。ごめんね。それだけしか残してあげられなくて。
crying. I'm crying. Copiously. I continued rubbing my tear ducts until it hurt. This is the memory when I was born. The memory of when I was born. I'd remembered it. People could remember even that far back.
ごめんね。それだけしか残してあげられなくて。ごめんね。それだけしか残してあげられなくて。ごめんね。それだけしか残してあげられなくて。
Remember it. Okasa. I covered my face. Joy, anger, sorrow, pleasure, and whatever else falls under strong emotions. A baby's emotions. I remembered Okasan. I thought my heart was tiny, but it had such a thing hidden away. Like someone who travels far and wide looking for someone until they're on the brink of death, then turns around for the first time to see that the person that they were looking for had been following silently and smiles brightly. It was as if everything would be unconditionally affirmed. Dizzy. There was one more memory. I fished out one memory. Darkness. My childhood was one with darkness. Okasan was holding me with her body left in darkness. No conversation. A mother and child had sunk into the darkness. I don't know what the reason was. For a long time, Okasan grieved as if afraid. I could feel that. Otosan was there. He probably died. Somehow I understand that, along with the fact that the words of the solace weren't prepared for me. Okasan is embracing me, a girl with no one to rely on, as if fighting with the darkness of her own fear. We were both there, unable to even cry. I realized I've become able to see Okasan even within the darkness. A few months after birth, my nerves changed from central brain tissues to optical tissues. A period of development for peripheral nerves suitable for the outside world. Within the darkness, I continued silently desiring Okasan. That beckoned of physical change to my body. Okasan was a young prisoner of fear and had no knowledge. The rod and cone cells, which would be optimizing, were, at this time, recognizing their host as nocturnal. The rod-shaped cells multiplied, deciding the distribution, and unspecialized cells around my retina form a quasi-tapetum. Was it repeated error, or cells trying to assimilate with virtuous humor losing their transparency? I don't know. As a result, light entering my eyes can reflect off of the two overlapping constructs. They're structurally the same as in cats or dogs. Also, these eyes are more sensitive to moving things than still things, just like how a cat plays with small insects' eye. In the darkness, Okasan kissed me over and over. What sort of influence did I receive from that? Those were all the memories that could distract from the black torrent of latent consciousness. That's right. Okasan died. After that, she died. That's why I was left with the Hasakuras. I connected it to the present. Then, what is that Nanaka I'm seeing? She couldn't be. Stop. Nanaka remained my unconditional ally. I'm sure she's always been watching over me from the bottom of my memory. I'll think that. The world can know the truth. I don't need to know. For me, the fact that she loved me, that's more than enough. But I took back my tears, recognition came next. People just need to be there. Place, nature, gender. I don't care. I want to be there. I want them to be there. People want people to be there. They want to feel them close by. The peace of mind of someone being there when you hold out your hand. They want to gain that. That's why people call out to each other. By phone, by words, by letters, by attitude. By wireless. So that someone somewhere will listen. I wish we're that. Mimi Senpai was right. She was fleeing, but she was right. I'm a person. Yes, I can't believe it. I disturbed my deep consciousness and innocently destroy people. because it's natural for harmony to be hindered by impulse. But I was a person. I can live. I can live on with that sense of satisfaction. The gate may disappear and the world may be changing. The crossing point is here. When it passes by, the after image is beautiful. A time is coming when it will become an illusion and disappear. Just how much longer until then? Next week? The week after? Next year? Or will I die? Which will come sooner? I mustn't die. Because if I die, this irreplaceable feeling will break apart. I'll live. I'll live fighting until the last day. And then I'll wish, somehow before my proper lifetime ends, I'll wish for the sky to disappear. Nanaka is smiling.
ごめんね。それだけしか残してあげられなくて。
What I was left with was the most commonplace category of single kanji words, and light terms for common people. I said, "Thank you. I'm fine now." Nanaka answered. It was a blessed smile across her whole face, and at the same time I correctly recognized Nanaka. My heart acquired a tranquil transcendence. I was standing alone. In the forest, the existence called me was all alone. It was silent, more so than I ever experienced. The urges disappeared. The movements of my intense, uncontrollable heart were disappearing. It was too silent, as if I'd be able to hear the noises inside my body. I became anxious. I couldn't feel the tyrant of imagined scenery that had been my intense ego until now. Had peace truly come to me? Is this a temporary dream? Forlorn? But this is normal. Here, people raise their emotions. I put the heart on my chest. I held it tight. I don't know what week this is, whether to count it tens or tens of thousands. So I'll call it a Memorial Week X. It's not a short sword anymore. In this way, I became a person. Though it's probably belated and meaningless. But from my eyes, tears came out. Sad. Happy. When those mixed, there was no longer a word to describe it. I laughed and cried. Yeah. Ah! The next day, Teru. Club activities. Okay, let's do it. Somehow it feels more like art than an antenna, but if I work hard all day, it'll probably work out. Sunday. Done. Somehow I made it. The energy left me. In some sense, Sunday isn't even a half day, so it's tough. For now, completion. I was enveloped in a sense of accomplishment. Healthy. I looked at the sky. Ne, senpai. Looking at the sun makes me sleepy, but it'll be rough if I slept here. I'll get straight to the broadcasting. I took my seat. I've been dreaming of this sort of casual club activity in a daily life like that of a normal student. If I have memories, I'm fine with that. I'm satisfied. I breathe it in. The evening breeze with a scent of summer snatched that away as if teasing me. Now, the broadcast. This is the Gunjo Institute Broadcasting Club. Even if I understand that this is pointless, I'll live on while clinging to it. I pushed out strong words. Is anyone alive out there? You are out there. Please, listen. I don't know what sort of situation you all are in right now. You might be in despair. You might be suffering hardship. Or perhaps you're moments away from death. I'll say this. To all of those people, please live. Just please live on. Could you please keep going? This is merely my request. Because if there are people listening to my voice, then that means I'm not alone. Because the moment listeners will exist for me, even if I'm not aware of it, they should become a connection between me and you. That's what I think. People are born alone, and they die alone. Whoever they become friendly with, they are in essence alone. Even if they plan together, not everything will be shared. Living is a lonely thing. How to cover up the loneliness is an important thing. Isn't that what others are there for? Do you have memories with someone else? Those are precious things. Please, make sure you don't forget them. Because that's the sole support of people who come to face solitude. Ideally, someone who's near you. Right now, such an obvious thing can't be guaranteed. However, I will be there, just as you will be there. I close my eyes. I put 1,000 emotions into it. This is the Gunjo Institute Broadcasting Club. Is anyone alive out there? I prayed. See you next week. I ended the broadcast. I stood up and turned on the generator. There's no time to put everything away. I have to go to the Hokora and repeat this again. It might be a hollow conduct, but I'll continue calling out, desiring for a momentarily crossing, a temporary crossing in my heart, spanning many weeks, so that I can say next week. Asakura Yoko returned to her room. Despite returning to her territory, Yoko did not loosen up. She passed between the high-stacked towers of academic books, threw her book bag onto the bed, and turned on the machines. In her 6 tatami room was a set of 3 PCs with LCD monitors. They were arranged in an L shape in the corner of the room, making it look cramped. Oh, that's literally what my room also looks like, without the tatami. I mean, anyway, though all 3 were fully prepared to take pictures, she hardly ever looked at, much less use, the one machine dedicated to web surfing, because there was no one to interact with. The built-in ceiling-high bookshelves were stuffed with all kinds of specialist books, not just in Japanese, but English and German, all of them in disarray, so she could read them. There was no point in dividing them up by language. The shelves couldn't contain all of them, and several columns of books rose up from the floor. They must have been left untouched recently, since all of the columns had a thin layer of dust. Other than that, the tools and high-tech machinery stood out. There were many things in it, but originally the room was a simple one, a room to achieve an objective, with only one exception. Nothing that could be called recreation existed. A room filled with knowledge and means. It was the sort of private room. She sat in her chair and performed her daily tasks, checking email, reading the news, political corruption, juvenile crime, malpractice cover-ups. The world doesn't change. There's a smooth increase in people committing suicide. From the pages about those suicides, Yoko casually jumped to a forum, and there her eyes stopped, because there was the word radio. It was an occult site, a ghost's voice from the radio, and the voice of Kami-sama, and so on. It seemed to have the power to stop listeners from killing themselves. She soon lost interest. In order to check out the trends of her investments, she piled up several foreign sites. This much was mechanical for her. Normally she'd read books or mess with the machines to fulfill some needs she had, but she had no plans today. For the past few days, she's been adjusting her online trade of number of stocks that showed interesting movements. It's nice to have capital. It'll come in handy at some point, so will physical strength. Today, too, she completed her training. These automatically completed tasks contributed to maintaining Yoko. She once had an objective, to enhance herself and go out into the world. Back when she lived in the Hasakura mansion, she thought that was everything. Hard studies for that purpose, but the objective of her ambition changed at some point, when she became half a person. In order to protect an immature companion, she started to sharpen her skills, and then she lost him. All indications of him had disappeared. What does Yoko think about herself? She who continues to move around mechanically despite that. It can't be deduced from her scarce expressions. She turned off her computers. The room felt dark at once. Yoko remained sitting in the chair. Her norm had ended. There's no longer anything to do. She looked at the clock. It was too early to sleep. Then, her eyes stopped on the sole item of recreation in her room, leaning against the wall. A tiny card-like radio. The switch had been left in the on position. Nothing comes in on that wavelength. Sometimes it would catch bits of broadcast from far-out lands. That was it. Yoko sighed and gave herself up to the enacted time. Just how much of it passed? Yoko had been lightly sleeping, but awakened in an instant. She stared at the radio. She thought that she heard heavy breathing, bringing with a special nostalgic presence. This is the Gunjo Institute Broadcasting Club. The shock shot through Yoko. She picked up the radio. She couldn't do anything else. She didn't even think of recording it. Is anyone alive out there? The radio said it. There's no doubt.
Taichi.
You're out there. Please listen.
Taichi.
But her voice wouldn't reach him. She listened on the broadcast. Her mouth hung open, and her face looked as if her soul had been pulled out. Taichi's voice and breathing flowed from the radio. The broadcasting ended in an instant. She could no longer hear his voice. Even so, Yoko kept her ear up against the radio. She loved him. She adored him. He was the opposite gender. As Taichi said, Yoko's feelings might have been impure. Yoko-chan was too preferential when it came to automatically acting toward an objective. That form of love could be seen as ugly. But her feelings were real. Taichi and no one else threw Yoko's heart into disorder. She wasn't perfect herself. Yoko knew that, especially because of her childhood. She used a boy that looked upon her with admiration and warped his mind. On the day of the massacre, the weakness of being unable to kill a single person, she merely held her knife and stood still among the corpses. Other people she had no interest in, the first time she's seen something destroyed. An existence which merely shuddered at the ugliness of the world. A one-sided bond that wasn't even codependency. What should she have done? What could she have done to be able to walk with Taichi? Calm thought with no confusion, which was now quivering like a helpless child. Sobbing. She failed. She failed. She failed. She failed. Right, shoot. The broadcasting ended. At the same time, she broke down in tears. It was a regret of extraordinary mass. To Yoko, an emotion she never felt in her life. An extreme acute one. She thought from the bottom of her heart, if only I'd done better.
姉さん、風呂沸いたから。
Prima Tomoki called to his onesan Misato. It in the as yet unsettled room of their Okasan's house.
ありがとう。
The door opened partway. In his cut-off field of vision, he could see one of the Misato's knees drawn up. That bothered him a little. He dipped just his upper body into the room and gazed. Until now, they used it as a storehouse, a dusty, empty room. And yet, just from a girl sleeping here for a few days, it smelled like this. Tomoki found that mysterious. He really is a Scott. Tomoki had been conscious of his Onesan's gender for a long time. Him not straying from the path was because of their common temperament and his cowardice being a match for her urges. Now that she's here, Tomoki's primitive emotional urges are being diluted.
どうしたの？
Misato finally noticed. Tomoki looked at what his sister had been watching.
そのラジオさ、もしかして。
あ、これ。
He held it out.
そう。あの時の。
He forced a smile. They were once friends. Even in Gunjo, an assembly of weird people, they were especially eccentric. The boy made out to be the most seriously ill in Gunjo. He was in a perpetual noisy state, always making a commotion and playing troublesome pranks. But Misato knew. When she peeked at him to try and surprise him, his face was unbelievably emotionless. That sort of boy. When he noticed Misato's existence, his eyes would half-heartedly focus and then slowly make a smile. Yes, make one. He consciously constructs smiles. In essence, he didn't understand what people were. It was quite a while after meeting him that she found out he was mimicking. Hasakura Yoko warned her just once. I don't mind you being his friend, but be prepared. Was he that frightening a boy? He certainly did have a strangely dangerous side. Misato was still worrying about that, even now. Unexpectedly, the radio made a noise.
今。
Shh.
She cleared her ears. They both shared a faint anticipation, filled with the same kind of tension. Eventually, the radio began picking up small sounds. Are there people listening to this broadcast? Taichi's voice.
これ。
ペケ君。
She twisted the turn and stabilized the sound. She held her breath and listened. This is the Gunjo Institute Broadcasting Club. I'm here again this week. Which week is this? Well, whatever. It's probably the 5th or 6th. It was a voice as unconcerned as it was dumbfounded. As always. Are you all alive out there? Or are you doing well? I'm doing well. I'm coming to terms with things and living. How to put it? I'm really living desperately. The boy sniffled. Recently, a lot of things have come to the surface. A long time ago, I came to understand a lot of things I wanted to know. I was crying and sniveling. This is one of the things I've been thinking recently. What if could fall in love with someone unconditionally. I knew it was precious, but I didn't think it was precious. It's like, I know it logically, but my feelings can't accept it. I was making light of people around me as if they were worthless objects. I kept my distance, alone, not conversing, as if I had no interest. But the truth was different. I just didn't know how to love people. And I wish, yes, certain people taught me to love myself for my own sake. That was all I needed. That I didn't have to think past that. They hadn't. I'd probably only be able to love siblings, families, and others who were naturally beside me. Misata thought about falling in love. What sort of labor has Taichi done to do that? Tomoki thought. To Taichi, was he an existence that could be called a friend? When I was able to understand, everyone was gone. That's why I'm speaking like this. I don't have to respond. Just listening is fine. That's why I'll be here. Whoever you may be on the other side, I will certainly be here. See you next week. The voice cut off like a string snapping. The radio no longer threw out words. The siblings' eyes met.
あの子です。
Tomoki nodded.
太一。
They both stopped still in the thin darkness. They didn't try to speak. They could only be quiet. Misata embraced the radio. Through the cold plastic had no traces of the boy. She could remember. The touch of his skin, the scent of his hair, his breath on his ear and her ears. There was one thing she understood from that. Taichi's tumultuous attitude when making a commotion was his bitter, desperate cry for a contact with a person. In her vast room, Toko was sprawled out on her desk. After returning home to her peaceful days, Toko sunk, alone again. No change from before she got close to Taichi. She originally had the inclination toward isolation. On the other hand, after becoming close to him, she became boundlessly dependent. She'd sell her pride, regardless of the means, if she could draw closer to him. She had a fragile side. Thus, it was appropriate that Toko was in a girls' school. But some years ago, she had a confrontation with her friends and classmates. Men and women don't ask for dependence. What Toko's essence desired was someone subordinate to her. Because of the wounds she inflicted, Toko was made to take the highly infamous state exam, and then was sent to Gunjo. With just that fruit, all her friends were wiped away. No contact came at all. That's what first made Toko abstain. When Toko moved to that mansion, for some reason her parents' law didn't heal her. Wait a second, are you saying that the whole mansion that she's living in right now only exists because she could be close to, like, fucking Gunjo? What the hell? Damn, she rich. She must have needed someone else. Being loved by one's parents was too obvious, whether it was Toko or someone else entirely. Toko wanted some other human to see her own value. Her attitude was for that meeting, because she created half to that. When she was fulfilled, she was blown up in a way, throwing away herself and her pride, not knowing that those were the most precious things. Someone knocked on the door and spoke to her. A maid had brought Toko's dinner.
あ、そこに置いておいて。
The maid said something about her being depressed all the time and hardly ever going
何
outside.
もする気がしないの。
The maid wouldn't depart. What she spoke of were worries in form alone.
わかってるわよ。
She curtly chased her out and sprawled out on the desk once again. Her stomach bug growled. Toko's body always betrayed her. She opened the door and pulled in the meal tray. While having a meal with a balance of agony and appetite, the radio made a noise. Are you eating something delicious? This is the Gunjo Institute Broadcasting Club. She spat out something delicious. She had a fit of coughing. She adjusted the radio's volume. I'm living favorably. It seems a person can live just fine on his own.
太一
Are you all living? You suddenly said that. I think a lot about the heart. The heart is a function of life. Because if you don't stand on your own, your heart's territory won't expand. That's why people live alone. That's why people are born with distance between them. It's fine to use others. Making a bond with someone so you can live to the fullest is forgiven. But you can't assimilate with that someone. The same way I can't touch those of you listening to this broadcast right now. But we don't want to believe in weak hearts. We try to overlap them, being dependent, being subordinate. By various means, we try to lay down bypasses between ourselves and others. But that's impossible. Because people are born alone and die alone. You might think of that distance separating us as something hopelessly wide. You might not like it, but I'll be here. Next week, I think I'll be broadcasting like this again. And the next week, and the week after that, until I die. If you'll be there, just I'll be here. Then I'm happy. Because that's an incentive to live. See you next week. The broadcast cut off. Toko gripped the radio hard as if to break it. Her face was quite
生
tense.
きるって何よ生きるって私一人で生きていくの
Forever unaccepted by Taichi, unable to throw her feelings at him. He says just to be there and be satisfied. There's no way she could do that. She knows well the weakness of her own heart. So what should she do? Fall in love with someone else? Does Taichi wish for that? Toko's heart scattered into thousands of pieces.
他の人なんて見つからないわよバカ頭のおかしい女なんて誰も好きになってくれないじゃない
There was no one who spoke to her. No one but Taichi.
会いたいよ太一
Transparent tears flowed. She fell to her knees and slowly folded up until her forehead touched the floor. The parabola her back drew began to shake slightly. She wanted to be pampered because she's weak. She wanted to touch him right because she's immature. She will stand alone. How much time will be needed for her to successfully achieve that? The current Toko couldn't even guess. The brilliant atmosphere from the flower fields floated by the rusty old shops. A pair of small girls, Kiri and Miki. They were buying food.
キリチンとこうして買い食いするのも最後か
Sarcasm. Kiri could only respond with an affable smile.
遊びに来るからそしたらね
The heat still had lasting effects. The surfaces of the vanilla popsicles in their mouths were already
い
melting.
いな普通の学校いいな
She repeated herself in a censuring tone. Kiri could only force a smile, because she actually did feel sorry. Sakura Kiri's recovery had been confirmed and she was leaving Gunjo Institute. She was acknowledged to be able to adapt to society. Of course, there will be discrimination, since she was branded once. But Kiri decided to go. The bad feelings in her heart hadn't been released. She couldn't accept her current self either, and yet she says she'll go. Miki couldn't accept that. They had a fight, their first fight, but Kiri would go. The flowers are in danger of breaking up. Miki had been feeling dark. Kiri had been troubled, and then her final day at school came about.
ミキだって頑張ればどっか飛び込めるよ私のは心の傷というより持って生まれたものだからずっとうまく付き合っていくしかないんだよ
She bit her popsicle aggressively. Miki's scary. Kiri was afraid, even though it's the end. Miki doesn't want to leave Gunjo. She just doesn't want Kiri to go away. Kiri's comforting words, Miki's true feelings, they're suddenly unable to mesh.
ミキ
She was getting nervous. Various excuses swirled about. Setting off on a journey is something I need, but it's not like that's the most precious. That's more precious than my friendship with Miki. Not even close. But it really is important to me, although. What the fuck? What happened to the periods and all that? Anyway, this is a huge ass run-on sentence. Although, I want to stay a combo forever, and distance doesn't matter when we have to continue onwards, so. She thought of many things, but without any conclusion, she wanted to progress more and stand still. But she didn't know how to explain that, so others could understand this more or less. But Kitty's fingers were sweating, and her ice cream was dripping on the ground like a candle. She actually felt like crying. Seeing her partner's face, Miki smiled slightly.
でもまあキリチンの門出はめでたいよね。
Miki was being so hospitable. Kitty got upset. She had to say something clever, but her mind was blank. She couldn't find any dramatic words. Finally, she wrung out a
ずっ
feeling.
とコンビだから
Those words took all she had.
離れていても。分かってる。
She pointed to Kitty's ice cream with her jaw. That moment, the melted ice cream came off the stick and fell to the ground with a splat. A relaxed atmosphere. Then, Kunjo Broadcasting Club. It was from the radio in Miki's chest pocket. She hurriedly took it out. The rumored radio program was here. Miki attached earphones and passed one end to Kiri.
これ？先輩だね。
The mysterious radio broadcast. People had started talking about it on the internet, and it was rushing around Japan while making various town legends. I'd like to talk about the past today. Kurosa Taichi. I might have talked about it a long time ago, though I don't remember. There's no doubt. He disappeared, leaving only strange memories in the broadcasting club's members' hearts. But I'm sure I've told someone about this before. He's not missing or disappeared. A long time ago, I committed a sin. By himself with no one knowing the truth. A single boy who was like an illusion.
生きてる。どこかにいる？でもどうして？放送してるんだよ。
A ghost broadcast. This was actually the first time they heard one. I made a friend of mine die. Taichi told the story. It was about a friend of his, a boy that Taichi led to his death. Neither of them moved a muscle until the broadcast ended. A long last static wiped out the boy's voice. They both sighed as it released from a curse.
これって、間違いないよ。例の部活だと思う。誰もいない街で、多分一人で、多分ね。そんなのってあるの？先輩は望んでたんだと思う。一人になること。だからって声だけ届くんだ。なんだか先輩らしいよ。
The other world and this world. Whatever Taichi did, these two came back to this one. And he's conducting club activities by himself.
寂しいね。それに悲しいよ。会いたいね。会いたい。
The day of parting for two close friends. They both ended up confronting a part of their past. The past. And so, see you next week. The broadcast wrapped with those words.
ほう。
A path between mountains. Sakuraba had stopped his bike to take a rest and was smiling softly.
久しぶりだな、親友。
There was no way his words would be heard, and yet Sakuraba voiced them. He does want what he wants to do as long as it doesn't cause problems, and he hangs out with whoever he likes. He thought Taichi was gone, but today he heard his voice. He's still alive somewhere, Sakuraba thought. That was enough to fill his heart and make him happy. Peki-kun is sleeping. Yes, he is. His sleeping face is cute. When he's sleeping, that is. Should we wake him up as a punishment? Do we really have the right to do that after what he did for us? That really surprised me, seriously. covered in blood. Splatter. Blood splatter. Isn't that true? I'd like to bring Taichi back to our side. Does that mean killing him? Don't. Hasakura Senpai's overprotection has begun. Don't do what you mustn't. Don't do what you mustn't do. One of them cried. Battle begin. Well, isn't this all right? Leave him alone. You'll wake him. Favoritism. There's favoritism. Because I'm Kirichin's favorite. Will the lesbian combo over there please keep it in moderation? Yeah! Aren't you just making a noise? But he seems fine. Becky-kun is fast asleep, isn't he? I wonder if he's having a dream of some kind. He's smiling. Yeah, he seems to be having fun. Isn't that good, Hasakura-senpai? I wanted to say goodbye, but we probably can't contact him. Saraba. Bye-bye. Impatient boys, jeez. Bye, Taichi. Take care. Goodbye. This is goodbye. She just cries. But please, don't cry. If it goes well. What goes well? It does seem he'll do well. Force. I got up. I felt a strange presence, but I thought I heard everyone. There was no presence on the roof. All was silent. Am I hearing voices? It was more like I felt them than I heard them. I overslept. Whatever. I went back to sleep. Shoo. What are you all doing? I'm tired. I'll do it later. After I... Until the day the sky is no more. And that is cross channel. Time check 12:05. Man, if I only spoke 5 minutes earlier, I would have finished literally. Oh well, whatever. All right. Man. Ah, man, I need time to think about this whole thing. Ah, shit, man. I'm gonna give some time to think about this carefully, but that was quite something. That was quite something, especially the whole. Okay, so of course the whole Yoko-chan stuff was like. Well, it did reveal something about like the actual what actually happened in the Hasagura mansion. Then it went towards to questioning the kind of love that Yoko-chan had. It was like it didn't come from like a. Taichi described it as something that comes from fear, guilt, and all that. I don't know. I need time to think about it. But let's think about the whole sequence on the final route, where Taichi just went crazy, man. He went through a week. He went through a week. He was trying to maintain his own sanity. He tried doing things in a routine. But slowly, you noticed the text was getting so incomprehensible. he slowly, he kind of went mad-ish. He thought about committing suicide until like him remembering his oldest memory, that the love that his mother gave him, and that transformed him to become a person. I'm a little still kind of confused about the whole thing. Maybe that's why I really need some time to think about it. But like, it did show true that he, when he started doing the broadcast every week, he wanted to shout out to the world his thoughts, even though it's like a one-sided relationship with anyone else. I don't know. That's obviously like him trying to reach out to other people. Him doing the broadcast every week is still like a desire to find and get a chance to cross with people. And him never giving up. I mean, of course, he redeveloped his desire to continue living on and to keep going every week. You know, 1 week alone was very, very crazy for him. And as we saw in the epilogue, he already gone like at least 6 or 7 or more weeks at that point, and still going. He's still going in. What do you think happens in between those each and every like days? He has to rebuild the antenna, try to broadcast whatever his thoughts are, whatever he's feeling for that week. You know, I don't know. I need some time to think about that whole thing. So, what the fuck? It hits, but I don't understand it. I don't completely understand it. Maybe because it really is the terrible translation, or maybe because I don't know. I just need time to think about this. But you know what? Something I've been thinking about, like doing the whole every week. You go to the trouble of trying to broadcast your thoughts, even to no one else. You don't know if your words will cross with someone. You don't know if it was worth it in the end, or if it doesn't matter, man. You just want you just go there every week. Let everyone maybe shout to the void, speak to the void, let your thoughts carry over. And the reason I thought about that is like when I think about those streamers or people who upload YouTube videos. Okay, maybe I'm included in that. You know what? I am included in that. You know? What if this continuous existence of uploading our fucking videos, or if I stream my fucking game, that I don't care, that I say that I don't care that anyone is watching or listening. Maybe it's a shout to the void. Maybe you know, I think this came from Mimi Senpai's epilogue, I think. You know, when they were thinking about the whole, why is Taichi doing a lot of those perverted pranks, acting very loudly? I mean, she knew that he was actually emotionless and just trying to mimic being a person. And you know, but she understood. I think it's, I'm not sure if it's Mimi Senpai. You could correct me in the comments, but but for now I'll just use her as for discussion's sake. She knew that like he was, that's his desperate cry for connection, you know. I think it was also mentioned in an earlier route or something that that is forcibly his way. I you know what, I can't tell if this is from an earlier route or something I was thinking about when I was reading, you know, reviews, or you know, I already spent some time reading reviews and looking at past conversations, you know. That was a desperate cry for help. not help, for connection. Maybe going back. So a lot of people, some people, some people just upload content online. Doesn't matter whether Twitch, YouTube, whatever medium. Probably post some shit on X or Facebook or whatever, or TikTok. You know what? Whatever, social media, whatever the fuck. So not. I'm one of those who upload because I don't really care about like monetization. It'll be nice, but like I don't care about the money. On my end, like when I upload these YouTube videos or Twitch, I always thought of them as like something to look back on. When I look at my Umineko Umineko recordings for 2 years ago, it was 3 years ago. It was fucking the new year between 2000 and I finished Umineko from 2022 to 23, or was it 2021 to 22? I can't remember. You look back to yourself and how you thought about things, how you I still engage with Umineko once in a while, especially with Joseph Anderson's recent playthrough. So it was a good way to review Umineko, and I try to compare how I thought about things from back then and when I reached certain moments in the game. So yeah, what I'm saying is, some people who upload their contents, they want to communicate. I don't know what the fuck I'm communicating. I mean, if it's truly for my own self, maybe I don't need to share it, but I always thought that YouTube and something is reliable. But sometimes I felt like whatever thoughts I have going through something, sure, they're not necessarily meant to be useful for someone else. I find it more useful for myself because I use it as a way to reflect on the kind of person I am at a certain point in time when I was dealing with a certain point of content. But sometimes I feel like some people might be, once in a while our crosses meet, by the algorithm or some shit. I don't know, maybe you were looking for cross channel at some point and you felt like I wanted some background noise while I work or go to school, or maybe 20 years from now you're looking, this isn't some sort of weird ancient ice vault seed factory thing. You know how there's like those doomsday things in Greenland, Iceland, I don't know where the fuck they are. They're very up north. There's a vault where they keep data that in case in the future if something happens to civilization and they try to look into the past recordings of society during today is September 27, 2025, 12:15 a.m. 15 minutes later after the 22nd anniversary of Cross Channel just ended. They would look at this fucking recording and be like, so this guy from like a millennium ago, or maybe you just encountered this randomly from 5 minutes ago, just started you went through fucking Cross Channel through some guy because you have nothing better to do, or the algorithm or whatever, you just felt like it. If you ever find this useful, well, great. I'm glad you're able to find this useful for you, for whatever purpose or reason you're listening to this. Our crosses have crossed, and yeah, hi. But for whatever reason, okay, yeah, I don't know. If somehow one of my videos does affect you in some way, I don't know whether positively, negatively, or just a good way to kill time, I guess I'm glad, I guess I'm glad. It has some use. Whether you're a person or maybe some futuristic artificial intelligence scanning through a video. I don't know. Whatever's watching this, let's not contain ourselves. Who knows? Maybe maybe in a millennium from now, dolphins have evolved, and they decide to look on the the culture of the previous major civilization or species or whatever, and they're like, you know, humans thought things in this way, in that way, whatever. I don't know. It's like leaving behind, it's leaving behind whatever culture we can leave behind, especially in the digital age. Okay, you know what? I'm going to the MGS2 ending monologue when Snake talked about like passing on our knowledge and memories through the digital medium. Going on a long ass tangent about people trying to share things, not every content creator is out there to just try to get money. Some people just love to share whatever the fuck. Maybe some of them just like sharing, they want recognition. Maybe someone is out there is very lonely who at least wants to have their memory archived through YouTube or something. Maybe that's me, because again, I use this to just a way for me to record my thoughts and memories and the person that I am at a certain point in time. And maybe someone might find some comfort in that. Maybe someone, or maybe not, be annoyed, or use this as a case for like how weak. I don't know, man. It's all I can say is like works like these, or past, future, all works. Even the books that was published or written hundreds of years ago, they still continue to affect us in some way. The author is long gone, long dead. The interpretation may have changed or give rise to a different meaning. But looking through cross channel, I think I sorta understand whatever Romeo was talking. Maybe sorta. It doesn't. I don't know if it. It also went through someone else's filter. Someone trying to reimagine, relocalize, translate this. So some people have been saying that cross channel is best read in Japanese because there is a huge translation loss for someone who understands both languages. I don't understand. I don't actually understand Japanese, but I think the core concept of like connections are important, and how much that connection should be. Especially with Toko. For Toko, man, she's a good example that we people try to connect to one another, but some people in the people connect, but like they sometimes go too much. Trying to maintain a little distance. Try to if you go try to connect to someone too much, that you start losing yourself, or the other person starts losing themselves. You know what? I was actually thinking about Silent Hill F because I was playing Silent Hill F yesterday. I wasn't able to do that today because I decided to go cross channel, but I'm gonna try to continue again in the weekend and hopefully finish it. I was thinking about like the whole themes about like how they were trying to tackle the whole marriage thing. For some people, I mean, I don't think marriage in itself is terrible. I just think that there's some kind of dynamics for some couples, or societal dynamics, that forces, especially women, when they get married, they lose parts of themselves. I'm, I'm not saying it's just limited to women, but it's it's more likely to happen to women, especially during the setting of that story was like, I don't know, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. I don't know. It was 1960s, but like I already have an idea that events that happened may be actually happening in real life in 1980s or 1970s. But anyway, you know, it's like that. You don't want to get to the point where you connect that you start losing yourselves. So that's Toko's thing. Yoko's thing is like, I really need some time to think about that. Anyway, I've been rambling. I really need time to think about this. I'll just try to go to sleep and think. I'll be trying to think about this and just try to get myself to fall asleep while thinking about it, and eventually, hopefully, a dream. I'm gonna be drinking the sleeping pills that aids with dreams. So hopefully, I would dream it and I would come up with a better understanding, especially a better way to articulate what the fuck I'm thinking about, because I'm rambling so much randomly compared to how. You know what? Compared to the other, how I end other visual novels, like, when I went through fucking Summer Pockets, it was much easier to think about it. Umineko is much easier to think about it. When I went through finish Hachiku Umuna audition, oh yeah, the other day it was 5 years. They had their 5-year anniversary, so that was also a thing. Oh, a lot of good things happened in September, huh? Anyway, it was all after that. It was instantly easy for me to figure out that I really enjoyed the work, and then I go to rewrite. That's one good work there. That's some damn good work. And the other visual novels we ended up finishing, Kino Prison. Holy shit, Kino Prison. It had an interesting story and things to talk about, and things to think about how the topic the subject matter of something similar to what happened to Shimoneta, I guess. Anyway, cross channel, but it simply is about crossing our connections, thinking about our connections. But that is too oversimplified. But if you deal with it in the same way as you deal with the whole concept of pocket and summer pockets, where you kind of forget the 95% of the details and just remember that one tiny fragment that carries on, I guess that would be still good. Summer Pocket. The last episode of the anime adaptation is coming this Monday. Oh wow, this whole recording is a capsule in time. Fun times. Anyway, let me end my playthrough of Cross Channel by saying that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna keep thinking about this. Maybe there's a lot of things that they're sing in with me right now, but like, how's it work? I felt like it really hit me, especially at, this is. I wouldn't say that this story is just something that someone younger would greatly benefit, but someone who's more than 20 years old, but less than 40. Let's put that range. I probably heard about all this all throughout my life, especially during my youth. No, actually, during my youth, I didn't really think too much about it. Connections, I just naturally formed connections. But sometime, in my life, I moved around, go to a new place. Culture's different. People are different. You're far away from what was familiar. There was a time where I fondly think about like 5 years ago. I was always so happy to meet up with people. Now I feel like so different. Like, I'm worrying about so many things, but I feel like I'm no longer even making real life connections anymore. The hell was that? So this work just kind of reminded me about the whole thing about making connections, even if it's like I'm saying this to the void, you know. I don't know if anyone's actually listening to this. You know what? I feel like Daichi here, right? just going every week. I rebuild my antenna. I rebuild the Gunjo Institute's antenna. Speak to the void. Think about whatever. Say about whatever you're thinking during that time. This is the Gunjo Institute Broadcasting Club. Is anyone out there? So, you know, I'm having that kind of moment as myself. I'm pretty sure the next person who reads cross channel is gonna have that moment for them, or they somehow, whoever you are, you watch this and be like, I'm gonna read cross channel by myself, and then you have that moment. You'll be like, this is the Gunjo Institute Broadcasting Club. Is anyone out there? If you're still alive, if you're thinking about giving up, I want you to live. I guess I'll see you next week or some shit. Anyway, I need some time to think about this visual novel. I don't want to keep you guys up here if you're still here for some reason. As for next visual novel, there is another Romeo Tanaka work I am thinking about reading, so I'll be picking that up. So I'll figure that out. No, not Saite no whatever, because there is no translation, and I'm not gonna throw that into a machine learning model, and I already have an idea it's gonna be a shitstorm to read, so that's not it. I am thinking of something else. It's the one regarding family. You know, just like just like what they talked about Star Wars. It's all about family, and that's what matters. That's the other Romeo Tanaka work. Kazuku. What was that? Keikaku Kazuku or Kazuku Keikaku? Yeah, either of the two. Man. Family plan. Plan family. Wait, family plan sounds like. You know what? Saying it in English sounds so dumb. Anyway, I'm going to look into that. It also offers a prolific VA, Wakamoto, man. Holy shit, you know, who voice acted Cell from Dragon Ball Z, and the Emperor in Kogias. Holy shit, Lelouch's dad. Holy fuck. I'm gonna hear his voice in the visual novel, as it would already hear Dio's voice in this fucking cross-channel visual novel. Anyway, I won't keep you guys long here. You probably have something better to do. Maybe you'll go out and make some connections with other people, or you go out you read cross-channel in your own time and figure out your own shit. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this whole series for Crash Channel. And yeah, I'll be seeing you guys again next week. Okay, not literally, but you know what I'm doing. But whenever I upload, visual novels will be still in my irregular upload schedule. This week I still plan to finish Silent Hill F. Not gonna lie, gacha games, I'm starting to feel like it's starting to feel like a chore. I don't know if I'm gonna be quitting anytime soon, but I feel like the moment I finish Silent Hill F, I'm gonna be back to like, what the hell do I do? Of course I could go back to reading visual novels, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm just gonna upload in the pace where I feel like it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy watching, and I'll see you guys whenever we cross paths again. Ciao.